90年，你这个还是完全看不出来呀，看起来像27、28的样子。
Born in 1990? You really can't tell. Looks quite youthful. Maybe I just have a good mindset. Are you never married or divorced? Never married. Why didn't you find someone before? Oh, I was busy with my career and missed the timing. What do you do? Sales supervisor. What's your income? About 200,000 per year. Do you have a house and a car? Yes, no car loan. The mortgage is a little over 2,000 per month. Not too much pressure. Is the house in the main urban area? Right, I've already settled there. My mom and dad are back in our hometown living with my younger brother. What requirements do you have for the man? Born after 2085 has his own place? Because my place is only 2 bedrooms. With kids, it might be cramped. A stable job. Not too many life burdens. It's best if his parents have pensions, but I guess your parents don't since you have a younger brother, right? My parents will certainly follow my brother. I'll go back during holidays to see them and give some holiday money to show filial piety. As for daily life, they'll live with my brother and even help with childcare. So, actually, I don't have much elder care pressure. That's why I hope his parents also have pensions. Then our situations would be similar. What about height and looks? Taller than me is fine. Income preferably higher than mine. When do you plan to get married? At least after dating for more than a year. Marriage is a lifelong matter. It needs more observation. Can you accept someone divorced with a child? Preferably never married. Born after 2085 are approaching 40 and still demand never married? At most, divorced without kids. I really can't accept with kids because I feel my heart and personality are still quite immature. I always feel like I'm only 27 or 28, mentally young. Right. Actually, I think your personality is pretty good. What kind of man attracts you? Honest and kind, that's the basic requirement for a person. Good character, no lying. Not even white lies? Number. Can you give an example? Because I feel it's rare to find someone who never lies at all. Even the kindest people have told many lies to parents, teachers, colleagues, and leaders. Sometimes taking a day off to go out and play. Can we accept that sort of lie? Those small issues on the road of life? I think it's no big deal. But lying about being 1.6 something meters tall and claiming 1.70, being divorced with a kid, not by your side and claiming never married, that I absolutely can't accept. This situation is common. Some men fear that if they state their real height, no one will want to meet, so they inflate it online to get a chance at a meeting. And who knows, maybe you'll hit it off. That doesn't work for me. I can tell at first meeting if he's lying, and I will not continue to interact. So basically, all your requirements are rigid, with no room to lower the bar? Because I'm relatively wood, strong, stubborn, unyielding. In the past, my requirements were that everything had to be stronger than me. I'm also relatively independent. It's just that in recent years, it's been hard to find someone, so I've lowered my requirements. Anyway, if not better than me, then at least about the same. There's really nothing more to say then. How about you try relaxing the constraints on marital status or family situation? For example, parents without pensions, or a child not living with him, but the man's personal income is several times yours? Widen the net to meet more people. Not that you must pick that exact type, but you have to cast your net where there are fish to make precise catches. If the place you are in has already been fished out, no matter how many nets you cast, it's useless. Chiang, gee, do you think my requirements are high? It's not that your requirements are high. They're just not reasonable. It's like going to a night market and asking for soy milk and fried dough sticks. Those are morning foods. Where are you going to find them at night? Even if they exist, they're leftovers from the morning. They might be about to be thrown out. Can you still eat that? In whatever market you're in, you have to choose from what that market currently offers. You can't force what doesn't exist. Understand?
唉，大连市里的生活究竟有多难？就连生病都
So, how hard is life in Dalian City? Even when we're sick, we don't dare to go to the hospital. We always think we're strong enough, that we can bear everything alone, really that we can take good care of ourselves. But only when we get sick do we realize how desperate that helplessness really feels. Going to the hospital alone is not what's scary. What's scary is waiting in line after registration, watching everyone else being accompanied by someone, while you are always alone. That kind of loneliness is like a freezing wind. Maybe only you yourself can understand it. In an instant, all kinds of sadness surge into your heart. Loneliness is probably like when you are receiving an IV drip alone. Drowsiness washes over your eyes like a tide, yet you don't even have the qualification to close your eyes and rest, fearing that if you're careless, the dark red backflow of blood will rush up through the tube. Even wanting to go to the restroom, you can only hold it in. In fact, we older single women don't want much. We only want a little warmth, a little companionship. You, in front of the screen, have you ever had a similar experience? Before we dive into all of this, let us know in the comments where you're watching this video from. Connecting with viewers across the world is a huge source of inspiration for us.
是不是都想脱单？是不是还在死磕？我一定能。
Don't we all want to get out of being single? Aren't many of us still stubbornly insisting, I will definitely wait for the perfect one? But the truth is, there is no perfect person in this world. We ourselves have shortcomings. Sometimes we don't even like ourselves. So why demand the other person to be flawless? Find someone earlier, make mistakes, stumble more. Instead, it can help you figure out your own needs more quickly and what kind of partner you should actually choose. If you keep aiming too high and despising everyone you meet, dragging it out until you're 35, then opportunities will be fewer, your mentality will have changed, and you'll become more passive. By then, even regret will be too late. Those who find happiness in marriage are those who learn to accept the imperfections of the other and then treat each other with an ordinary heart.
男生提出了10条的择偶标准，结果被骂惨了。
A man proposed 10 standards for choosing a spouse and ended up being scolded harshly. Let's take a look at them. Girls who smoke, drink, or gamble don't consider. Girls who raise pets and treat cats and dogs as more important than family don't marry. Girls who like wearing bizarre clothing don't consider. Girls who like posting revealing photos or videos online don't marry. Girls who are Moonlight Clan, spend all their salary every month, don't consider. Girls with strong vanity don't marry. For example, salary only 4 or 5,000 yuan is approximately equal to 5,700 USD, but insists on carrying a handbag worth tens of thousands of yuan is approximately equal to several thousand USD. This is not acceptable. Girls who dress revealingly and constantly post on social media, showing travel photos, eating gourmet food, afternoon teas don't consider. Girls with a bunch of male best friends, with weak boundaries with the opposite sex don't want. Girls who are not filial to their parents, even if they are beautiful, don't want them because it may affect family harmony and neighborhood unity. Girls who clearly did something wrong, but still demand the man to apologize and coax them don't consider.
男女之间能不能只谈恋爱不结婚？一位滴滴司机
Can men and women just date without getting married? A Didi driver gave me a shocking answer. The driver was born in 1992. He dated his girlfriend for 5 or 6 years, married at 30, and now their daughter is 2 years old. He said that after marriage and having a child, he truly felt the responsibility of being a father and also felt that he and his wife gained a deeper bond of blood. When dating, the two people had no blood connection. In the face of disaster, it was easy to fly apart. But a child can continue their bloodline, making two strangers become a destiny-sharing community bound by blood. He said, one day as husband and wife equals 100 days of grace. Couples rely on love and desire. Husband-wife and parent-child relationships rely on responsibility. Love and desire are products of hormones. They easily vanish. But responsibility is a moral habit cultivated over decades, more stable and lasting. The key to choosing a partner is not just to look at how good someone is to you now. It is more important to look at what kind of character, values, and family foundation they had built up before meeting you. A person with stable moral sense is the reliable partner.
年纪越大，相亲越难，一是因为随着年纪的增长，人荷尔蒙就是在不断的。
The older you get, the harder blind dates become. First, because as age increases, hormones are constantly declining. In your heart, you know very clearly that you should go and meet the other person, chat with them, but you just seem to lack the motivation. Too lazy to chat. Can't keep the conversation going. Feels meaningless. Even if you mate a decent blind date, the conversation is okay, but it still feels like it's missing the spark of love. As people get older, it's just harder to have genuine romantic feelings for the opposite sex. More often, it becomes a matter of weighing pros and cons. From what I see in private messages, those who get emotionally carried away, struggling with inner pain because of the opposite sex, the vast majority of them are men and women under 28. Once people pass 32, very few are still so emotionally entangled because of the opposite sex. Second, because as social experience and life experience increase, it's much easier to spot the flaws of the opposite sex. Sometimes you don't even need half a month's time, maybe after just a couple of meetings, a few days of chatting, through their words, actions, behavior, you can already see clearly what kind of person they are. You can recognize their patterns, and then you feel this person is really boring, and you don't want to keep in contact anymore. Whereas those who are younger, or even older but still inexperienced in judging people, will continue muddling along in the relationship. It's also because being single for a long time, living alone for so long, you've become somewhat poisoned by your own solitude. You've gotten used to freedom. Then, suddenly, when someone enters your life, you need to compromise, to tolerate, to adjust your schedule together, to deal with their emotions, to consider their feelings, especially when their arrival doesn't actually add anything positive to your life, but instead requires you to spend more time, energy, and even money. You will feel tired, troubled, and annoyed. This bitch, she cost me over 3.02 million yuan, approximately equals 420,000 USD. If she still doesn't admit it, she knows damn well she cheated. Long-distance relationships. When they last too long, they tend to collapse. A short separation may feel like absence makes the heart grow fonder, but a long separation brings sorrow. No matter how earth-shattering the love feels when you're together, once separated for a long time will dull everything. Clothes grow loose, but I do not regret it. For her, I grow gaunt and weary. When you don't see each other for a long time, every night becomes sleepless. You work in the south, I struggle in the north. All day long, I miss you but cannot see you, and it breaks my heart. You are far away at the ends of the earth. My heart is in chaos. Missing you becomes a river, and I am tormented every day. Those distant greetings of concern from you are not as good as a warm smile from someone nearby. You give your heart, buy the most expensive things for them, but it doesn't compare to a boy nearby buying her a cup of hot milk tea, a good morning and good night every day. But you're never there in person. Just thinking about it feels bitter. When love isn't nurtured, when the soul can't find belonging, then no matter how deep the love, over time it won't survive. With so many temptations around, the relationship will eventually derail. It's not that I was unfaithful to love, not that I truly wanted to change my heart. It's that without long-term companionship, feelings naturally fade. Why is graduation season for college students also breakup season? Because couples are in different places. You can't come, and I can't go. As the saying goes, when couples don't see each other for long periods, love naturally fades. Actually, it's nobody's fault. It's all the fault of distance. Then there's another story. A bride's dowry included 4 fully paid apartments. Cash of 280,000 yuan is approximately equal to 39,000 USD, and a BMW car. Meanwhile, some older leftover women are still holding onto their bottom lines, insisting on a sky-high bride price, saying they'd rather have nothing than settle. But this woman has already entered the hall of marriage, becoming a happy bride. This is true love. This bride has set an example for many girls who insist on high bride prices, compared to those who demand a huge bride price, but only bring pots and pans as dowry. This is what a true little fairy looks like. When love is real, bride price and dowry don't matter. Not for fame, not for profit, only for the sweet happiness of the couple. That is what true love is. You respect me a foot, I'll respect you a yard. Only then can life in the future truly flourish. Of course, not every woman's family conditions are so good. But can we, at least, not be so calculating about bride price? Using the size of the bride price to measure whether the other person truly loves you or not, that makes you look arrogant and uneducated. As the saying goes, to give and not to return is impolite. On the matter of bride price, men and women should understand each other and show empathy. If you're unwilling to give, only thinking of demanding and taking, even trying to justify it. In today's situation, hardly anyone will tolerate you. Meeting the right person is already not easy. If you end up giving up because of the bride price issue, it's not only a misinterpretation of pure love, but also sabotaging yourself. As the saying goes, if you want a good marriage, your demands must be within reason. Bride price expectations must be reasonable, and you must have a clear number in your heart.
我嫁给了一个隐形的妈宝男，最后一步步走到了离婚的地步。
I married a hidden mama's boy, and in the end, step by step, it led to divorce. My husband and I were introduced by a friend. We both lived in the same small county. I was 2 years older than him. That detail became something his parents always held against me. At first, I didn't know that his parents were against us being together. Not until the first time our parents met. His mother suddenly said, "My son is determined. He insists on marrying you and no one else." At that moment, hearing those words, I was deeply moved. I thought, he must be a man with a strong sense of responsibility. But reality was not so. Only after we married did I discover he had no sense of responsibility at all. Even the day before we registered our marriage license, his mother called me to their home right in front of him. She asked me to my face, "What have you prepared for your dowry?" I was stunned. Who asks such a thing? In that instant, I didn't even want to go through with the marriage. But still, for the sake of saving face, I replied, "The dowry has already been discussed with others that will follow what was agreed upon." Even so, I felt uncomfortable in my heart. But my husband kept begging me, so I softened and agreed to marry. Yet, from the very beginning and even until now, his family has always minded my age. They wouldn't let me say my real age. If others asked, they insisted I report my nominal age only. I don't understand being 2 years older. Is that really such a shame to their family? Later, regarding the wedding banquet arrangements, his mother said most of the expenses should be paid by the bride's side. Even cigarettes and alcohol were to be bought with money from the bride's side. This did not match our local custom. Then his father said, "Our family has connections. I know people. The alcohol costs 800 yuan, is approximately equal to 110 USD per bottle. I can get it cheaper through my connections. Just have your family transfer me the money." But the name of the alcohol he mentioned, no one in my family had ever heard of. We had no idea how much it really cost. It was entirely based on his father's word, so we decided not to use the alcohol, his father suggested. After all, it was our bride's family money. Why couldn't we choose and buy ourselves? The next day, we decided on another brand. We called his mother to explain. But his mother said, "Oh, the alcohol's already been ordered. It can't be returned." My mom said, "Then go talk to them again. Since you know them personally, it should be easy to resolve. Just return it." That evening, his father called to say, "The alcohol doesn't cost anything anymore." My friend sponsored it. The way he said it, the tone was that his face was so big, that friends were willing to gift him things. After marriage, our conflicts never stopped. First of all, my mother-in-law was constantly stirring up trouble. Living under the same roof was unbearable. She only washed my husband's clothes, only cleaned his shoes, never mine. 3 months after the wedding, I got pregnant. During that time, constant fights arose because of my mother-in-law's excessive interference. When I went for a checkup, the baby already had a heartbeat. But because of our endless fights, I got so angry that I miscarried. On the day of the miscarriage, my mother-in-law still came to the hospital and argued again. She complained that my relatives from the countryside, loud voices, too many visitors, were disturbing the hospital rest. Hearing her belittle my family, I felt deeply wronged. I just wanted to go back to my parents' home. Since I needed postpartum care, I naturally wanted to do it at my mother's house. But because I refused to go to my in-laws' home for recovery, my mother-in-law argued with me right there in the hospital. On the day of the surgery, I was physically and mentally exhausted. My husband was at work. After work, he didn't come immediately. He only showed up very late at night. I felt completely helpless. After being discharged, I went back to my parents' home for a month. Not a single person from his family came to visit. My husband only came every day for 2 hours and then left, never staying over. 3 months later, I prepared to try for pregnancy again. At the hospital, I discovered my AMH value was low. My mother-in-law's face went dark and she said, "Even women close to menopause don't have numbers this low." My husband said nothing. I felt devastated. On top of that, I was diagnosed with HPV positive. From then on, my mother-in-law wouldn't even look at me properly. She despised me, gossiped to others, even called my mom to say, "Take your daughter back." I was furious and stormed out of their house. But the moment I left, they changed the locks on the door. They shouted, "You left on your own." Now they are suing for divorce. And they demand that the bride price and dowry be split. Even the car my parents bought as part of my dowry. They want to divide it. Because the dowry car was bought after the marriage license was registered. Even more outrageous. They want me to pay the court filing fee, even though they're the ones suing me. Back when we were dating, I never imagined marriage would turn out this way. When we weren't yet married, we got along fairly well, exchanged gifts. People say couples should travel together to test compatibility. We did travel, and we were happy. But truly, it is so hard to see through human nature. After marriage, I also discovered that his mother had no boundaries with him. She would apply medicine to him while he was naked. After showering, he would walk around the house without clothes. Every morning, he needed his mother to wake him personally. If she wasn't there, she would call him to wake him up. He was, in truth, an invisible mama's boy. So sisters, be cautious when choosing a partner. Observe carefully his character and what kind of family he comes from. If you're still watching, comment 1 so I know you're still with me.
那你是无性恋吗？觉得我有点性冷淡。
So are you asexual? I think I'm a bit sexually indifferent, maybe even cold. Kind of laughable, isn't it? In relationships, what's your dating history? I'm from Shanghai. I'm 1.73 meters tall. So there's no love in your life? Not at the moment. I haven't met anyone. Maybe in the future I'll wait and see. Perhaps it will happen. So, are you a funny girl? Well, my social media circle is pretty funny. I do have a kind of dry humor. I still believe in this thing called love. So can you be sure whether you like men or women? I'm not very certain. Probably both are fine. If someone wanted to pursue you, would you be okay with it? Well, I'd have to see the feeling. I'd have to see who it is.
本人1.64米，130多斤，谈了4年。
I am 1.64 meters tall and weigh over 130 jin, approximately equals 65 kilogram. I had been dating a male cousin for 4 years, but now he thinks I'm fat and wants to break up with me. So just watch how I went to find the police uncle to get back everything that rightfully belonged to me. When I first met my boyfriend, I was 1.64 meters tall and weighed around 95 jin, approximately equals 47.5 kilogram. He was 1.75 meters tall and weighed 170 jin, approximately equals 85 kilogram. We met because of work and mutual friends. He himself said it was love at first sight for him, and he started pursuing me fiercely. Friends around me said, "Your boyfriend is actually pretty good. His job is good. He's young and promising. Why don't you agree to be with him?" So I did. In the first 2 years, our relationship was really good. We never quarreled once. We went on many trips together. Everything was perfect. We even met each other's parents, and both sides were satisfied. The problem began around July-August 2023. My boyfriend's job is more sales-oriented, so he couldn't avoid entertaining clients. Drinking, dinners, socializing. One night he called me saying, "I didn't drink much. This client is difficult. My stomach feels uncomfortable. Can you come pick me up?" He was pretending to be drunk. I said okay and hailed a cab. When I arrived outside the private dining room, I could hear him yelling and laughing loudly with the clients. He was clearly acting. I knocked and went in. He introduced me. "This is my wife. She came to pick me up." He leaned on me, pretending to be drunk. The client saw and said, "Okay, let's call it a night. We'll meet again next time." He told me, "Settle the bill and get the receipt for reimbursement." So I did. After that, I helped send the clients off. He already booked a cab. We got in. On the way, he chatted with the driver. "How much do you earn per month driving?" Totally sober. When we reached our apartment, the layout was a bit special. Although it was on the first floor, you had to go up a few steps, turn, then up a few more. I was walking ahead to open the door. Suddenly, he jabbed me with his elbow. I tumbled down the stairs, fracturing my collarbone and ankle. Even then, he urged me, "What are you doing? Hurry up and open the door. I need to use the toilet." I forced myself to unlock the door. He went in, used the toilet, and lay down on the bed to sleep. I was in pain, so I quickly called my friend, told her everything, and she rushed me to the hospital. The doctors said, fractured collarbone and ankle. It takes at least 100 days to heal bones and ligaments. The next morning, my dear boyfriend, probably sober, called to ask, "Where are you?" I said, "Don't you remember last night?" He said, "Oh, I just remember I pushed you once. Then I went inside and fell asleep. Where did you go after that?" I said, "I'm in the hospital. Come quickly." When he arrived, he asked me, "So, what are you going to do now? You can't go to work like this. If you don't want to work, then resign. I can support you with my salary." Of course, I refused. I called HR and my boss, explained my situation, and asked to work from home. The company agreed, sending my laptop and equipment home. So I started working remotely. At first, he was attentive, coming home early after work to cook. But after 2 weeks, his true face appeared. He started complaining. "You sit at home all day doing nothing. It's just a broken ankle, not like you lost a leg. Can't you cook once?" I've been cooking for 2 weeks straight. I was speechless. For more than 2 years, I cooked for him every day without complaint. He cooked for less than 2 weeks and already complained. Because of my injuries, our intimacy was naturally limited, but he still said, "You're boring, such a turn-off." After more than a month, he stopped cooking altogether. At first, he ordered takeout for me. Later, he ate outside and came home afterward, ignoring me completely. Sometimes he said, "You've been resting at home for over a month? You can at least go downstairs and cook instant noodles. You can hop around, can't you?" As my ankle began to heal, news came that my company might lay off people. I knew I would be on the list anyway, so I applied voluntarily, thinking my colleagues could keep their jobs a bit longer. I was laid off with compensation, so I stayed home to rest. But staying home, I gained weight. From 95 jin, I ballooned to 130 jin. Family and relatives were shocked. They comforted me. Being chubby is healthy. But my boyfriend was different. When I was 110 jin, he said my figure was perfect. When I reached 130, he mocked me, pinching my fat and making mean comments. Later, when he took me home to see his mother, she was shocked. "Did you change girlfriends?" He said, "No, still the same one." She said, "How did she become like this in just a year?" That night, I overheard his mother in the living room. "She's fat now because of illness and medication. Who knows what she'll become later? You have a good job, a bright future. Don't ruin it for this kind of woman. What if she can't have children?" The next day, his mother even invited a childhood female friend of his to dinner and openly compared me to her, praising how beautiful and slim she was, while ridiculing me for being over 130 jin. I was furious. I slammed the chopsticks and shouted at his mother, "I became like this because your son pushed me down the stairs that night, causing fractures. And now your family despises me." Trying to persuade him to break up, his mother dropped the pretense. "Yes, I want my son to break up with you. Didn't you see? I already invited his childhood friend here. I like her better." I immediately returned to my work city. Luckily, the electronic door lock at our apartment entrance, there in Azanis Seed, had a small camera. It captured the entire scene of him pushing me. Also, my phone automatically records calls. The call I made to my friend that night, when she rushed me to the hospital, was recorded. I had kept all of it, so I went straight to the police, accusing him of intentional injury, and demanded compensation. Now the case is still pending, but I've already given them a price. If they agree, I will accept it. Dear viewers, this story is not only a personal tragedy but also a reflection of a troubling reality in today's China. According to the China Family Research Institute, divorce rates in major cities have exceeded 40% over the past decade. At the same time, lawsuits involving domestic violence and property disputes are on the rise, showing how marriage and family foundations are being shaken by materialism and declining trust. In this picture, many realize that true happiness does not lie in money or appearances, but in love, responsibility, and mutual respect. This is a reminder for us to return to the traditional values of family and society where people know how to cherish, share, and uphold morality. And this is exactly what China Social Trends always seeks to convey, looking into everyday stories to understand the roots, and from there, moving toward a more humane way of life. The more modern society becomes, the more we need the anchor of family. That is why we must preserve and pass down the good traditional values, a theme that China Social Trends will continue to explore in future videos. In your opinion, when a marriage falls apart, is it mainly because of social and economic pressures, or is it due to people's own selfishness and lack of responsibility within the family? Share your thoughts in the comments below. Don't forget to subscribe to the channel so you won't miss the next stories. Thank you for watching. See you in the next video.